Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the Ukrainian Museum of Canada. I think everybody knows me here. I'm Jen. I'm the director. I'm so pleased to see folks gathered here on this rainy evening for what's going to be a wonderful lecture. If you have not been to one of Volodymyr's lectures before, you're in for a treat. He's now our favorite person to call in for a lecture. Dr. Volodymyr Ternovsky left Odessa, Ukraine, with his wife and children who are here with us tonight in the very first days of the war. He arrived in Saskatoon in April 2022, and I met him at a meeting of the Ukrainian Professionals and Business Association of Saskatoon. I can never get the acronym right, where he made a little presentation on the state of agriculture in Ukraine since the full-scale invasion started. And I had just started here, and I'd left the university where my PhD supervisor was an agricultural economist, and I was so struck by Volodymyr's talk at that event, and I knew that he could tell a good story, but with also lots of good facts, and that's a rare thing to be able to do. So I'm thrilled that he's been so keen to partner with us here at the museum. Volodymyr holds a master's degree in agricultural economics and a PhD in economics from the Agro-Technological University in Melitopol, where he worked for 18 years. He's also been involved in the Agricultural Extension Service, working to implement international technical assistance projects aimed at the development of small and medium-sized horticultural production. Anyone who's got a PhD has spent a long time in the educational system and thinks about their kids' educations too. And I think we've all seen those images in the media of teachers holding classes on the streets in cities in Ukraine and in broken down buildings. And we also know what a stress it's been here in Saskatoon too, particularly at Bishop Palovich, with where a lot of students came over from Ukraine unable to speak English, so they had one option to go to school, and we have a long history in Ukraine itself of education being so valued because it was denied for so long, and even here in Canada, many of our ancestors were denied educations until recently because they had to leave school very early to work on the farm. So, and the women, the Ukrainian Women's Association of Canada, who founded this museum, also highly valued education, and that's why this museum is here. So I'm thrilled that Vlad has come to speak with us tonight about the transformation of education in Ukraine, and he is not the only presenter. We're also going to be joined by his daughter, Anastasia Ternovska, future architect, and his son, Vlad Ternovsky, who is a coding whiz kid. And they're going to speak about their experience as well. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Volodymyr Ternovsky.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Jen. Yeah, so thank you very much. I'm really happy to see all of you today, and thank you for coming in such a rainy day. And yeah, before before I start the presentation itself, I would like to quote Nelson Mandela, the first president of South Africa. And he said that destroying any nations does not require the use of the atomic bombs or the use of long-range missiles. It only requires lowering the quality of education and allowing cheating in the examinations by the students. Patients die at the hands of such doctors, buildings collapse at the hands of such engineers, money are lost in the hands of such economies and the companies and so on. So the collapse of education is the collapse of nation. So, and it's really important to keep education at a good level to keep the country at a good level as well. So we will talk today about, we will compare some aspects of Canadian and Ukrainian educational systems, and a little bit about kindergarten, primary, high school, and higher education, and as well about transformation of Ukrainian education systems, Bologna process. This is what Ukraine implemented since 2005. Dual education, research and development works, and of course I will mention about the war influence on Ukrainian education system, because it's like it is in my heart. So we will start with the key characteristics of Ukrainian and Canadian education system. And so you can see here, I pull it out from the website, so from the Saskatchewan education website, and this is one from the official website of Ukrainian Ministry of Education and Science. So we have here basically pretty similar system, pretty similar structure. Both educational systems provides kindergarten and primary school in Canada. It's basically the same that primary school in Ukraine, and plus basic secondary education in school. Secondary school or high school here in Canada, it is pretty similar or equal to upper secondary education in Ukraine. As well, we have in Canada, we have like vocational education and certificates and diploma, which is basically in Ukraine divided in 3 levels of vocational education, where you have several levels, and the highest one is called higher vocational training. And both systems provide higher education, like bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees. And there are several differences here. One difference is that to go for vocational education in Canada, students can go from the secondary school or from the high school, while in Ukraine they could start vocational trainings starting 15 years old. So it's right after basic secondary school. So it's like 15 or 16 years old. This is one of the differences. The second difference is that to get higher education in Ukraine, all students have to go through the external independent testing. It is like testing which goes simultaneously for all kids at the same day, at the same time, all over Ukraine, and they get a certain score after the testing. And this score is used to identify the place in the line to a particular educational institution, higher educational institution. And the higher score you have, the more chances you have to your application be accepted by this particular school. Yeah, sure.
Is there no military compulsory in Ukraine at all? Military service of any kind?
Yes, it is. It exists. It exists. Like it is obligatory right now to do military service right after the school. But if you get into the to another level of degree, to get another level of degree of education, like higher education, you have how would say you can delay it. Like it's like you can move to after you graduate, for example, after you get bachelor's degree or like master's degree and so on. So yeah, right now it is obligatory to do military service in Ukraine.
1 year, 2 years, how long?
1.5.
1.5.
Yeah, for the latest, what I know. I'll talk a little bit about kindergartens. They're basically the same, like in Canada, in Ukraine, and I believe challenges are the same. The wait list, this is what I found in internet, like it's recent news about Canadian kindergartens. And it's pretty the same situation in Ukraine, as we have a joke in Ukraine: when a woman gets pregnant, it is time to book a place. Like I believe here it's pretty the same situation. And another point is in Canada, this is what I found, and this is what I heard even from Canadians, that the price is little bit higher. Like it costs something to get your kid in a kindergarten. While in Ukraine, we have a lot of public kindergartens, and it is affordable to give your child to a daycare in a kindergarten. So, but in principle, like in general, it is pretty the same situation. Yeah, and now we move to the primary school, and here I would like to give the word to my son. Yeah, come here. Давай, включу. Да, включу. Ну, вперед.
Так, слайд переключи. Чи ні? Слайд переключи.
Давай, Алина, помогай. Okay.
Hello everybody, my name is Vlad and today I'm going to tell you the differences between Canadian primary school and Ukrainian primary school. First difference is school bus. In Canada, school buses can serve students in cities and countrysides. Unlike Ukraine, in Ukraine, school buses can be used in countrysides. The second difference is bikes. In Canada, students could bike to school and leave it there. And in Ukraine, there is almost no such a thing to ride a bike. The third difference is class schedule. I want you to notice that in Ukrainian primary school, the school ends at 15:55, and in Canada, it ends at 15:15. At that time, 15:55, you can do your homework until 17:15. At that time, everybody goes home. Also, I want you to notice that normally in Ukraine, breaks are 10 minutes, and the longest one is 15 minutes. At that time, you can go to the school cafeteria and buy a lunch for you. Also, in Canada, the breaks are 15 minutes, and the longest one is 20 minutes. It goes right after the lunch. The class equipment. In Canada, students have classroom Chromebooks and iPads. And also, students have free Chromebook cards. And there's around 30 students in each classroom. So there's 30 Chromebooks in each card. And in Ukraine, only wealthy schools have computers, such as Chromebooks and iPads. And other schools don't have any Chromebook or iPad. Lunch. In Canada, students can bring their lunches from their homes. And also, students are able to buy their lunch once a month, unlike Ukraine. In Ukraine, students normally buy food in a school cafeteria. Outside breaks. In Canada, students go outside, even then it's minus 20 Celsius. Even today, we were forced to go outside, even then it was raining. I was so much wet. But then it's minus 30 Celsius outside, students don't go outside. And also, students had Polar Bear Club this year. This club can go outside, even then it's minus 30 Celsius. But your parents must sign that you're able to do that. And in Ukraine, we don't have snow, we don't have temperatures like that, and also students don't go outside. Joint classes. In Canada, it was so much unusual that we had joint classes because sometimes grade 5s needed to work in a hallway because teacher wanted grade 6s to learn something different than grade 5s. So I had classes in a hallway. And in Ukraine, we don't have classes, joint classes. Also, we don't have classes in hallways. Homework, the last slide. In Canada, we doing homework only if we are preparing for the test or you didn't do your weekly job. So that's about 1 hour of homework per month for me. And in Ukraine, I had to do 1 hour to 2 hours every day after school. I didn't like it at all. And also, this is me playing basketball with my friends after school. And this is pretty all what I wanted to say to you. Thanks for listening to me, and now I'm going to give the microphone to Anastasia.
Can I ask a question first?
Sure.
Thank you for that. Can you explain to me why people don't ride bikes in Ukraine?
Because there's just like no such a thing to ride a bike. I never saw students that was riding bike to school in my school. So yeah, and I never did in Ukraine. There's like no such a thing.
And another question.
Sure.
Did you sign up for the Polar Bear Club?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anastasia. Yeah.
Hello, so my name is Anastasia. I'm here to talk about high school. So, yeah. High school. I found that there are a lot of differences between Ukrainian high school and Canadian high school. So the first thing I want to talk about is external appearance. And yeah, so I'm a student in St. Joe's High School, and it looks pretty nice. It's like renewed, I guess. And like in Canada, the architecture of high schools is more like to spread the high school around like just an area. Like they usually have one floor, but in Ukraine, we usually have like from 2 to 4 floors, I guess. And yeah, my high school in Ukraine looked like a little bit like a jail, but it's not. Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is classrooms. So, like, there is not such a lot of differences. It's still a classroom where you sit and learn. So, but they look a little different. Like, we have more of the wooden chairs and desks. Like in Canada, there is more of a like plastic chairs, I guess, yeah. Okay, so the uniform is a really important thing for Ukraine. Like even when I believe there was a time when our president just said there will be no uniform, but our Soviet teachers said they were a little bit against that rule, and they still wanted us to wear like black and white or like navy blue colors. And we actually couldn't wear any, like girls couldn't wear the tops or like skirts that are shorter than like a knee length. But in Canada, there's no uniform at all. You can wear anything red, yellow, blue, whatever you want. And that's actually a really nice thing because I can actually wear some tops like that are shorter like that than my like belly, you know. Yeah, and that's the thing I actually really like about Canada. So, and pedagogy, the teachers is also like one of the major differences. So usually, so I found a really nice example of a Ukrainian teacher because they usually look more old, and yeah, the expression on her face usually, like all the teachers have that expression on their faces, you know. And
Look at me.
so, and the relationship between a student and a teacher is also really different because like in Canada there is more like a friend to friend, like not exactly like friends, but it's more friendly and more kind, and like the teachers, they try to talk to a student, they try to resolve a problem, they try to like find some connections to talk. But in Ukraine, teachers don't talk, they scream or they call parents and like, come here, talk to your child, and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, and like in Ukraine, teachers are usually older. Like we have the stereotype that the older person they are like smarter and more wise. Yeah. So the examine is also like a little different. So in Canada here, as we all know, we count our grades in percentage. Like to pass the assignment or a test, quiz, you need to gain a 50% mark. But in Ukraine, we have like the numbering system. Like the maximum grade you can get is a 12 out of 12. And to pass a test, there's actually no such a thing like passing the test, but yeah, we just have the grades. So in Canada, to retake a test, you can use that only once per semester. But in Ukraine, it depends. It depends on your relationship with teacher. It depends on your relationship, on your parents' relationship with the teacher, how you treat your teacher, how you like. Think about the subject, how you show your how engaged you are in on a lesson. So yeah, you can actually, if you're like a good student, oh, not like me actually, but if you are, you can retake a test. If you actually show the teacher that you really want to learn about that subject, you're really engaged, then a teacher can allow you to retake the test like as many times as you want. And also, like a really nice thing that I like is Edsby. Edsby is like an app where people can, like teacher and students, can share some like outlines, homework. They can text each other. They post grades, but sometimes it's actually another really nice thing because my parents can see my grades anytime. But yeah, in Ukraine we have a notebook that called like a diary. I think that's if that's a right translation of it, but well, usually a lot of students just throw away their diaries and not they don't show that to their parents, yeah. So the schedule is also pretty different because in Ukraine we can have 7 or 8 classes a day which last 45 minutes and we have only like 10-minute breaks and no lunch. Yeah, but in high school is more, it's just simple. Just 5 classes for the whole semester, every day, same thing. And in Canada, you can pick your own classes, except the required ones. I think there are like 4 of them, I guess, or 5. But in Ukraine, all the classes are required, all of them. You can choose like which you want, which you don't want. No, you don't have that choice. So yeah, there one like a couple of lessons that you can actually choose. It's like in specialized language schools, which I was in. So I get to choose if I want to learn English and French or English and like Spanish or Chinese, something like that. Yeah. So in total, we got like 3 languages, like Ukrainian, English, and French. Yeah, that's it, I think. Yeah, and I was talking about all the differences before the war started. Yeah, but now it's totally different compared to like right now. Yeah. Yeah. What's your question?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Just curious. Um, in Ukraine, are there charter schools? So are there private schools, or are mostly all high schools publicly funded?
Well, yeah, there are some private schools that are like really expensive. And yeah, as Vlad said, in private schools there are Chromebooks, like iPads, and a better cafeteria, better staff. They're more friendly, actually. The teachers, yeah, and just the overall quality of school, like how it looks. It's like renewed. It's nice. It's just looks better. Yeah, but most of the schools are just public, just usual schools. Yeah.
Also, I would ask if
Yeah.
teachers are they all ethnic Ukrainian or are they all different nationalities? Or like you said, there's some Russian teachers too. You said or not? They're Soviet teachers.
Well, yeah, the Soviet thing is that like they have a stereotypical thinking about the students and teachers, like in Soviet back there. So I'm not sure how to say that, but they were treating their students like almost slaves, like not slaves, but like nothing, like just they were not really treating them good. So yeah, that's the really important thing, because most of the teachers are like always mad, angry, and they don't want to talk and find connections. If there is like an argument or a questions, they just scream. They don't want to resolve a problem if there's something happen. Yeah. What's your question?
So it sounds to me that in many ways you and your brother both enjoy schools here better than you did in Ukraine. Is that true? Do you feel like you're learning as much as you did there?
Well, actually, like the overall, well, I think that just the quality of schools in Canada here, they're better. But in Ukraine, I think it was like kind of more fun, I guess.
Okay.
So here in Canada, there's every day almost like everything same. Class, teacher, same every day. But in Ukraine, there's like every day you get different subjects, different classes, different teachers, and like it's more fun for me. Yeah, much more fun. Yeah, and the fact that the teachers are more strict in Ukraine, that's half true, half not, because we always found a way to have some fun in the class, like right during the class. Yeah. Yeah. What's your question?
One last question for me right now. So if I moved from Ukraine like a year ago, and I was in high school, can any of my credits from high school in Ukraine transfer over to like to your to like to a high school in here in Saskatchewan, or is there a process that maybe you had to go through, or are there no equivalency for your credits?
Well, there is, because my friends that transfer from Ukraine to Canada, they like they get some credits from Ukraine. But I think if Canadian students, like for example in grade 10, move to Ukrainian grade 10, like the program is completely different. In Ukraine, it's much more complicated, different, and they just go much more faster through the stuff. And I think if a Canadian student, maybe like grade 10, I think grade 7 or 8 would, like Ukrainian grade 8, would like be the best option for them. If, yeah, I think so. Yeah, and actually Ukrainian school lasts for 9 months. Yeah, so we get 3 months of holidays, and that's really a nice thing. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's all that I was going to talk about. Thank you for your attention. I'm gonna pass the microphone to my dad, Volodymyr.
Yes, so you just heard honest, like expression expression of their like feelings, of their impressions from different schools. Yeah, and just the biggest transformation in primary school and secondary school and high school that Ukraine went through, it was basically Ukraine switched from 10 to 12 years of education. This one was the biggest one, and as well subjects right now are different. Previously it was the subjects were more like Russian oriented, I would say. So for example, you can the number of hours for Russian language and Russian literature were equal to Ukrainian language and literature. And right now, especially after 2014, many schools, they just switched to Ukrainian. But before that, some teachers were lecturing in Russian, and it was like kind of okay. But after 2014, it is like obligatory to teach in Ukrainian. And so, and as well, right now, Russian language considered as a foreign language, like the same as English, Spanish, or whatever. Yeah. And as for the vocational education, the basic transformation is that now it is divided on 3 levels. Like basically, after when you are 15, you can go to get a certificate, like a forklift operator, for example, if you wanted to be so. Yeah, get a course for 3 weeks or like something like that. If you want to be an accountant, of course, you need to get like higher level of education. Then you need to go for several years. So basically, this is it. That it is right now, I would say, more organized, more specified by the professions. It is like description of each profession, description of each qualification. So, and it is well organized right now. This is what I like there. And now we are moving to the transformation in high school. So the biggest transformation in higher educational system is that in 2005, Ukraine joined Bologna process. Bologna process called after the city in Italy, Bologna, where 29 countries first gathered together, European countries, and then they were discussing the future of European education, and they gathered together to establish unified procedures. And just they were thinking about, like, they were discussing the future of education. And right now, it's this process, like for these 29 European countries, started in 1991. Ukraine joined in 2005, and now 49 countries are joined to this process. Yep.
Just if I can ask, so then if you become a medical doctor in Ukraine, can you transfer over to Canada, or you have to rewrite some?
I believe.
That doesn't what that Bologna
No.
process does?
It does not work. There is a like equivalency of an evaluation of diplomas. It exists. Like I'm as a PhD, I proved my equivalency to the Canadian one through the some agency. Its acronym is WSE. So it's the agency that like approves that my PhD in Ukraine is the same that's like a doctorate degree here in Canada. But as for the medical, I know that as an example of my friend, he worked as a ultrasound technician in Ukraine, and here he had to go through the evaluation process, like physically. He learned all this. He had tests, exams. He had like a test period for approbation period for in his work. So he went through all the process.
For how long did you have to do the process?
Several months.
Like six months, I believe, at least 6 months. Yeah, it was pretty long process, and he's like he's highly qualified specialist, and so. But again, the challenge here is like it's a little bit different. Like, you know, some differences in language, different machines here, right? Yeah. So it yeah, but he again he got like approvals that he's qualified to work here, and now he works at the central hospital. Yeah. So the Bologna process established goals for reform in the participating countries, such as three degree cycle. It's bachelor's, master's, doctorate degree, and as well they adopted shared instruments such as the European Credit Transfer and Accumulation System. It's been like the student score, so it like equivalency, and the same they agreed to use the same quality assurance. It's like basically the same. And additionally, the Bologna process facilitates students and staff mobility all over the Europe. So it with the aim to provide better quality of it, better like to be more inclusive, more accessible for students and for staff to work in different countries and different universities. And as well, they did it with the aim to make European education more competitive worldwide. Yeah, one key aspect of Bologna process is joint degrees. It is like, and it works in Ukraine as well. It went two universities, one Ukrainian, one European university. They agree on curricula, they agree on procedures, and student could be in Ukrainian university most of the time, sometimes visit European university, and by the end of his or her tuition, get two diplomas of two universities. This is what like really good for students. I know some students who got such degrees, and as well, what I like in the Bologna process that they put a lot of attention to research and innovation or research and development. We will talk about it a bit later, and life learning for knowledge-based society, which is really important. It's during your life you work, you learn, you work, you learn, and by this you upskill yourself and get like better job, better positions. And as well, it is very important, and as well I mentioned about a little bit later, it's government's autonomy and funding. So, and
What is that 3-degree cycle?
3 degree, it's basically getting bachelor's, master's, and doctorate degrees, like 3 degrees. Because like in Ukraine, we had previously, and it's you see some small mark here, it's like specialist degree. I'm the one who got specialist degree, and now it's considered to be a master degree, but it was from the previous like Soviet Union, legacy, like it's the specialist degree. And right now we have only like 3 degrees: bachelor's, master's, and doctorate.
So was that like higher up, like you said, a bachelor there, and you have a specialist bachelor? Is the one 3 to 4 years or 4 years? Is that it's more intense or what?
Yeah, it was before.
And now it's the same.
Now it's the same. Yeah, it's 4 years. Okay, dual education. I believe this is the best one that Bologna process brought to Ukraine. It's dual education. It's dual education. It's basically, to say it in 2 words, it's when students they go to educational institutions and they get their theoretical knowledge, and as well after that they go to work with real businesses to get real practical skills, and they do it. They change their positions. Like it could be once a month, twice a month. So they part-time they work there, part-time they learn their theory. So it is, and of course they do it like not by themselves. Like when they work for business, they have instructors, trainers, businesses, and so on. And curricula is adopted for such education. And they have instructors or trainers who can assess their practical skills, student skills, what like the way they perform on with real practical skills. And such as educational system, it's beneficial for all parties, for students, for businesses, for the society, for like businesses. They get highly qualified personnel for lower costs, because all the time they have like students income, they students flow, and all the time they upskill students, like, and after a student graduate university or vocational training institution, so the students already ready to work. There is no time for like no need to adopt him, like to upskill him or to do something else with him.
Is that what they call the co-op program here?
Co-op?
I think I was just going to ask the same thing. In some of our university programs, we have something called co-op education. It has nothing to do with cooperatives. It's cooperating, I guess, with business.
Mhm.
So business schools, engineering schools tend to have them. We wouldn't see them usually in the liberal arts or social sciences. I don't know where else we see them.
Does high school connections do that too?
Liaisons.
My son was in charge of it.
Okay, yeah, okay. I don't know if we have that here, but that'd be great. I didn't know about that in Saskatchewan. So they call it co-op education here, but it's not all programs, and it's not, it's not every business school that does it. I think it's not.
Or every high school or university.
Exactly.
They choose that as one of their options.
Yeah. It's seen as a bonus.
It's about a year and a half longer, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the public policy school would have it too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's this sounds like maybe it's more widespread, or is it all universities have adopted this now?
Not really. Yeah, it is in the process. It is slowly moving process,
Yeah.
but it moves.
So then it's about 1 year longer then it takes?
The same time, like it's
4-year program.
yes. They just organize it in a different way. You can get like theoretical knowledge during it is not necessary for a professor to give you full lecture. Yeah, he could give you part of the lecture and then say the rest of it you can find in books, in internet, or like whatever. Yeah, and then students go to do some really like something useful for them, something that they can skill up themselves.
So would they get paid when you're-
It could be so. Yeah, it's one of the benefits of this dual education. Some of the businesses, they could pay for some students. So not at the very beginning, but I got such I heard about such conditions. So for example, if you come, like a student could come to a business and they start doing something there. If they are good, they could be paid. Not big money, but still something. Yeah. And so, and in that case, we have a joke in Ukraine. So after student graduate some education institutions, he could come to his first employer, and the employer might say, "Okay, forget everything that you learned. I will teach you the way it has to be." Yeah, yeah. So in that case, when they have dual education, they already do what they need to do. There is no necessity to upskill the students. And again, it's establishing private-public partnership. It's aligning curricula according to the labor market requirements. So it's everything is here. Yes, please.
So this is the Bologna process. You're saying this is what some universities and some colleges are starting to implement. Is that what you're saying? Not all universities and colleges are implementing.
It is kind of obligatory for all universities and for all educational institutions, but not all of them do this in a good quality level. Some students just could come and ask their instructor from a business side, "Please sign me a document that I visited you several times and learned something." Yes. This is the challenge. And this is the challenge. This is what I did not like when I was a student, like when we got like a diploma project or to do something, it was obligatory to do some work practice. And we could come and ask, "Please sign a document and I will not disturb you." And, it's good cheating, but not good for your future. Yeah, and now I would like to, before I move to R&D, I would like to discuss with you some figures from the Global Innovation Index, which is an annual ranking of countries by their capacity for and success in innovation. So this Global Innovation Index started in 2007 by one of British magazine, and they basically collect information from the open sources of different countries, and based on this information, they assess and put certain rank for certain for certain countries in certain indicators. And so I put here two countries, Canada and Ukraine, and so we are pretty good ranked among 132 countries, and of course Canada is ranked higher than Ukraine. It has like 18 position compared with Ukraine 44 position. And so our countries are pretty well educated, like education, this is like secondary education. Our countries spend pretty the same amount of, percentage of GDP, gross domestic product, like 5.3 and 5.4%. But when you recalculate it to real money, yeah, of course, it's like GDP, Canadian and Ukrainian GDP, they are totally different. And of course, Canada invests more money in education. And here I would like to pay attention to this indicator like pupil to teacher ratio. So Canada has close to 10 pupil per one teacher, and Ukraine has 8 per one teacher. And so probably this is the reason why Vlad told you about these classes in hallways, and it might be the reason why teachers right now, they are like protesting and they are striking.
It's a lot more. It's a much higher percentage of the GDP per pupil in Ukraine.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Like 30.3 compared to 18.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you compare it with GDP, yeah. Again, it's kind of complex index. You know, I spent some time to get in what it means really. Yeah, but it's you're right about yeah. So if you calculate it in per one person, like it's higher percentage. Yeah, and here what surprised me in higher education, Ukraine ranked as 33rd position, and Canada 35th. And here we can see that both our countries are pretty close in the percentage of graduates in science and engineering, like 22% and 25%. And when we move to the research and development part, Ukraine has catastrophic situations here, I believe. Like Canada invests in R&D 1.5% of its GDP, and Ukraine 0.5, and it's really nothing. And it's this is, I believe, like R&D has to be one of the it is very important part to move country economy from raw-oriented to innovation-oriented. This is what like many countries did. They invested a lot of money in R&D, in such type of works, and they right now far ahead of Ukraine.
Well, you have there 63.4 corporate investors, and you have 0 for Ukraine.
Yes, right. Yeah. This is another indicator, like. Yeah.
There's no pattern to invest.
And we have level people, you know, like our programmers, like our people, like IT specialists, they are valued all over the world. You know, it's like they work everywhere in Canada, in the United States, like everywhere. But Ukraine cannot find the way to implement their knowledge. I don't know why.
So is this a question of potential investors not trusting? Not trusting the system. Is it a question of trust? Because you need to have trust to make an investment.
Right.
Right. You need to have trust that there won't be corruption, that the money will be spent the way that you want it to be spent. That
right.
Sort of thing, and
right. Yeah.
Pilfered somewhere else. Is it mostly
this is one of the challenge that our Ukrainian system is corrupted, and it's I'm not opening your eyes on this. You know, like it's a real situation. This is the way it is, and investors, they do not trust like Ukraine to invest in Ukraine and to open some entities. You know, like to develop something there in Ukraine. Even we have cheaper labor force work there. This is one of the challenge. And as well, you know, people, why should I open something in Ukraine when I opened it in some civilized country, in European country, with good rules, you know, like it's understandable laws. And so why should I adapt and look for challenges in Ukraine? Yeah.
The only company that's going to invest is the one that's in Saskatchewan, for the nuclear energy. I don't know if it is, but are they going to have people in Ukraine that can handle that then, or what?
Nuclear energy?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have really good engineers. We have really good, you know, like people, really knowledgeable people. Even right now, during the war condition, people from Kharkiv city, there are a lot of engineers. Kharkiv, Dnipro, a lot of engineers who right now they develop missiles from scratch. You know, like, and they still have knowledge. We still have people who can do this, even after so many years, you know, like of this corruption in Ukraine. So even so, we have like the human capacity. Ukraine still has human capacity to do many things, to do many innovative things. We just need to better government, I believe, or better situation, or better neighbor. Yeah. And yeah, so and yeah, like on my opinion, R&D transformation moves really slowly because of the one of the things that we just discussed is corruption, and the second one is our government does not give to educational institutions, to universities, enough freedom to do with their money what they want to do, because like government says, okay, if you spend money, this is your money. If you earn money, this is our money. Yeah, and so there is no sense for R&D to develop, because anyway, any income you get from R&D, any services you provide to a business, you know, like anything you earn, you need to share with government, and this share is pretty huge. You know, you need to give pretty big share to government. And so in publications, I found three basic models. One of R&D transformation. First one is like traditional academic approach, just publications for the publications. Professors just their knowledge that they develop are not applied to the real world, and everything is like knowledge disconnected from the market. So this is like first stage. The second stage, at this stage, could be characterized by the like professors already looking for application of their knowledge on the market in order to provide services to some businesses. And but at this stage, there is lack of systematic support. So infrastructure of education of universities is not ready to provide such services as an entity. So it's lack of there is a such item like Office of Technology Transfers. So in that stage, there is no such offices. Administration support is really weak, and so that is why, like in this stage, it basically supported by professors who are interested in doing something useful for their businesses. And so the third one is already focused on works for particular businesses, on their demand, and it is aligned with what market wants. It is commercially driven, and in that cases sometimes appear direct connections between professors and businesses, between scientists and businesses, but this is under university's umbrella. So in that case, university could get royalty, you know, could get some money for what is invented in their premises, for example, using their capacities or equipment. And there is another ranking system I would like to introduce you. It's it is called World University Rankings. It started in 2000. 2007. Yes, in 2007, and Ukraine appeared there first time. Sorry, it started in 2011, and Ukraine appeared first time in this list in 2016. And there were only 2 universities ranked between 500 to 1,000. And in 2021, we have already here like 5 universities, and 3 of them ranked from 500 to 800. And the total number of universities that ranked here is 1,500 universities from 93 countries. So it is really good, and it is the result of the reforms that are going slowly, but they still, they're going. And just to give you an idea about Canadian universities ranked the same level, here is the list of these universities that have the same level. And there are 5 Canadian universities in top 100 list. Like, if I were Canadian, I would be proud of it. It's pretty good, like pretty good indicator.
Where is University of Saskatchewan?
Good question.
But now with VITA, it'll be coming up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and again about like advanced stage R&D stage. So I know personally people. I know vice director of this university and head of one of the department from this university, and they are really advanced, R&D, and they have this. They're commercially driven, but not the whole university, but some departments of this university. And they avoid this government system of money control by creating non-government organizations as a part of university. It is like part of university, but not part of university. So it is like just for them to organize money flow efficiently, I would say so. Yeah, and yeah, they work and they have success. So the model works, but it just need to have like more support from government side, or at least do not take money from which earned by the professors of such universities. Yeah, and I worked for the number of years for different international technical assistance projects, and one of it was workforce development project. So, and I already shared with you with some of the ideas that within the Bologna process. And as well, I would like to pay attention to the such method of learning, like a case methodology. This is started to be popular in some universities in Ukraine. It's when business comes to university and say, okay, I have some challenge in my daily operation. Could you please help me to resolve it? And to resolve this challenge, they do not call professors, they call students, and they organize like championship between several universities. And the students might find a solution for your challenge. And we really had such a situation when a big poultry farm in Ukraine, they organized such a championship they had a challenge to identify sick chickens in their cages, and students found a good and cheap solution, reliable solution for this company. So, and as well, it's like career development centers. It's basically these centers work right now to help identify possible career pathways. It could work for graduates, it could work for adult people. So it is when you come to this entity and ask, okay, what do I need to do to become a director of this museum, or this museum, or another museum? And they tell you, okay, you need to get this certificate, graduate this institution or this institution, like they help you to build your career. Yeah, we talked about R&D, we talked about a little bit about curricula, and modern equipment is really important thing here, because like even have a good curricula, if you don't have equipment to learn to teach students, it is like all these curricula are useless. And what we found interesting and very useful, it's mental health support, especially during the wartime. Many teachers and students, they're affected by the war. Some of them lost their family members, friends, and we helped teachers to identify such psychological problems within student groups and redirect this, and how to redirect the students to specialists. And it's worked well, and I'm sure that we saved several lives by this by these courses. Yeah, and talking about war conditions, it's the last part of the presentation. So basically, a good part in preparation was to the war conditions was COVID-19, because when the COVID-19 started, educational institutions started to implement remote education or distance learning. And so basically they were ready for this, and after the war started, in a week or two, all Ukrainian universities, where it was possible, they switched to distance learning, and they continue to do so. And we had such a situation like relocated universities. First relocation was in 2014, and 8 educational institutions relocated to the government-controlled territories. 1 from Crimea and 2 from the eastern part of Ukraine. And as the full-scale invasion started, we had 29 relocated universities. And and you can see here that some of them relocated to the different locations. So 1 university could be relocated to different places, because available premises, available places for students, for teachers, and it was relocated to several places. Some of the universities, some of the relocated universities do not exist anymore, as they just lost connection with students, with businesses, and there is no sense for them for further operation. Some of the universities, they joined together, relocated universities, and now they act like a single entity. So there are different situations here, and we have to remember that behind each university, and it's students and teachers' lives. And here we come to the another part, the way the war affected buildings and capacities of the universities. Here is the picture that I made in at the beginning of 2022, when we conducted a conference in Ryazovsky State Technical University. It is in Mariupol. This city was occupied at the very first day, and this picture was made at the end of March. So this building is almost completely destroyed. Some other examples of destroyed buildings, and in total 69 universities were damaged in Ukraine, and 4 of them destroyed completely. Yeah, and so in the places where students and teachers conducted their scientific works, right now it's empty places. And in the places where adult people were upskilling their skills, for example, in welding, right now is nothing. And in very touching, one of the non-government organizations in Ukraine, they organized such a movement like Unissued Diploma, where they described stories of students who died because of Russian attacks. So this presentation will be available for you to download online. Yeah, right, Jen? Yeah, so you can go and you can use this link and read the stories of these unissued diplomas. Unissued diploma. But still, Ukraine is strong nation, and we continue to resist. And you can see here some pictures of students who are still learning in the protected premises. Some teachers who still they doing their job, they do remote teaching. Students in the basement, And this picture was probably the first one who appeared in internet. And this is the it's professor from Uzhgrad University, and he was lecturing even from the trench. So yeah, it's like kind of really inspiring. And right now, I believe he's the ambassador in Hungary. Yeah. I'm happy that we are not alone. We have a lot of programs. We have a lot of international organizations helping Ukraine to resist and survive to Ukraine, survive to like Ukraine as a country, and survive for education system, Ukrainian education system. Yeah, with the hope, I would like to thank here to the team who shared some of the slides for this presentation. This is the team of economic resilience activity project that works in Ukraine. It's funded by United USAID.
So with that, please join me in thanking Vlad.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you for my kids. Thank you.